In this video, I'm going to teach you a few simple methods as to how you can stop bloating fast. Millions of people suffer from gastrointestinal bloating every single day. And let me tell you, someone who has suffered from a whole host of gut issues myself and works clinically with people every day with these issues, it is a big problem for a lot of people. And a lot of people, they can't tell if they're fat, if they're overweight, or if they're just really bloated. And the truth is, it's hard to tell the difference until you start working to reduce the bloating. And so that's why in this video, we're going to answer the question as to how to quickly reduce bloating. Because if you stop bloating, if this is a problem for you, you can stop that bloating literally overnight, and as a result, literally drop pant sizes. It's amazing how many people every single day are bloated and just don't have a clue that that's the issue. So stick around to the end of this video where we talk about all the different mechanisms that cause bloating, and then of course the lifestyle changes that you must make to stop this overnight. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and join our notification community. That way it can help you excel your health and your life. Let's go ahead and talk about what bloating is. I think this is really important because it's like I said, a lot of people just think that it's this thing where they're fat, they're overweight, but it's really that their stomach's just bloated out. And what happens here is you get an irritation in the gastrointestinal system, okay? This irritation comes in a lot of ways. We're going to talk about it in just a moment, the mechanisms, and then of course the foods that cause it as well. So you get this irritation in the gastrointestinal system, and then you get this excessive gas production. This is typically happening in the small intestines. Now, when we look at bloating, we're not just simply talking about like you ate too much and you're bloated because you were overeating. We're talking about this gas production that's causing distension within the stomach, within the gut, and as a result causing a lot of pain and discomforts. For some people, it's literally anything they eat. For some people, it's after every meal, and some people wake up in the morning like this. I mean, I've had patients that literally wake up in the morning and they're so bloated and their stomach hurts so much that they feel like they literally could just like pop. And so we want to make sure that we're working to reduce this bloating because it's going to make you feel so much more comfortable with your appearance too. Like literally, you're going to look like you lost just pounds and pounds overnight. So let's go ahead and now talk about some of the different mechanisms as to how this happens in the gut, some of the things that you can change. First big thing is going to be an alkalinity issue. Okay, we're going to really talk about just a couple major issues that I see reoccurring constantly in so many people I work with. So alkalinity, basically what this means is that the pH is off in your gut. As a result, you can't break down proteins in foods well. When the pH is too alkaline, you're going to eat proteins and it sits in your stomach like a rock and causes all kinds of symptoms, which we'll get to in just a second. It also allows for the bacteria overgrowth, okay? So when you have a pH imbalance within your gut, the bacteria from the large intestine can go into the small intestines, and that's when you're going to get that problem where you're just bloating after anything you touch. And so this is, referred to as bacterial overgrowth. This is referred to as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. And so this is something that we have to be careful about as well, because not only is it about like not able to break down food well because you're too alkaline, but also you can create this huge bacteria nightmare, which many people I work with face. Now, the next thing here is let's talk about the symptoms. Now, when you have this issue where you have too much alkalinity within your stomach and is not acidic enough and you're not breaking down your foods well, you're going to get a ton of indigestion. You're going to get heartburn. You're going to get burping. You're going to get a lot of gas, especially after meals, especially after eating heavy protein meals. Also bad breath. You're going to get a sense of fullness as well. Okay, that sense of fullness is like where, let's say that you sat down with a salad and you sat down with like a main entree and you ate your salad and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so full already. I feel stuffed, but yet I didn't eat anything. Well, that's that sense of fullness we're talking about. So if you're getting that fullness feeling, then it's an alkalinity issue. And so then you can't digest your proteins. And like I said, people who have this issue, they'll eat proteins and get very gassy from it. Now let's go ahead and talk about enzymes. This is another major mechanism which starts to have a problem when it comes to people who are having this issue with bloating. Now, basically, you don't have the proper enzymes within your gut and you don't break down your food properly. As a result, you're not getting those macronutrient breakdowns. You're not even getting the nutrients from the macronutrients because you're not breaking it down well, okay? This happens for a lot of reasons. Let's talk about a few of the things, a few of the ways that this can happen. So if you have an existing gut condition, this can be a major problem, okay? So if you have leaky gut, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, SIBO, all these different issues, then there's a good chance that you have an enzyme issue. And one of the quickest ways that you can fix this issue of bloating is by adding in enzymes and getting your pH straightened out. Also, chronic stress is a major one. People who are stressed out with work, people who are financially stressed. The other thing is remove gallbladder and then pancreatitis. Okay, a lot of people are out there getting their gallbladder removed and not given any solutions as to what they should do to live a good life after getting their gallbladder removed. They're typically just told, well, go on about life. And it's estimated that 40% of people don't get any symptoms at all, and the other people are just a mess from it. So if you've had your gallbladder removed, this is something to consider. And then from there, like I said, pancreatitis, if you have an inflammation in the pancreas. And so enzymes and also some good pH balancers is going to be one of the fastest ways to stop this issue. One of the fastest ways you can work on this issue from a mechanism standpoint. I'll put links in the description below to both of the different things that we use clinically in order to solve these issues. Now let's go ahead and talk about food intolerances, okay? Because this is important. I have so many people who have food intolerances that is causing their stomach to have a ton of irritation. It even leads to like irritable bowel syndrome where you're constipated, you're going through diarrhea, that kind of thing. Now I've ran a whole bunch of food intolerant panels on my patients, and I can tell you some of the major foods, the common foods that people are intolerant to. One of them is going to be dairy, and it can be any form of dairy. You're thinking yogurt, cheese, milk, creamer, sour cream, all these different forms of dairy, ice cream. Essentially, if you have a problem and you're intolerant to these foods, then you got to stay away from them because they're going to cause tons of bloating. And honestly, the other thing too is some people genetically just don't do well with these foods. If you've ever got your genetics tested, the genomics, they can basically go in and look at which foods that you typically will not do well with, and you usually correlate those foods easily with your genetics. Next here is fructose, okay? So fructose, so a lot of the fructose is going to be from your fruit. Many people also are consuming a lot of foods with high fructose corn syrup. This can all cause bloating, so we have to be careful of that. Eggs is a really common one, and this is a big problem for a lot of people because a lot of people go into the low carb diets, they go into the keto diets, and like the eggs is probably one of the most staple foods in this diet system simply because it's got low carbs, it's got good protein, and also it's got good fats in it. And so a lot of people go to eggs, and I'm a big fan of eggs and eating eggs, but if you're intolerant to them, then you just can't eat them. It doesn't work out. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding eggs in this case, and then of course wheat is another major food sensitivity that many people have. So, the wheat, the grains, the gluten, all that stuff, we have to be really careful with that because it'll cause tons of bloating for people. And so just avoid that altogether if you have any of these different foods that you're sensitive to. And if you don't know, just pay attention to after you eat them. And that kind of leads us into the next topic here, and that is using a diet diary. Using a diet diary is incredibly powerful simply because what you do is every single day you write down the foods that you ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you're doing intermittent fasting, you don't even have to write down breakfast. You just do lunch and dinner. And so when you write down these foods, next to it, what you're going to do on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 is like no pain at all, no bloating at all, nothing, and 10 is like the worst you've ever had. And you'll just basically go and mark in there 0 to 10, how was it? So you put that scale in there that's going to measure how you're feeling after every single meal, and then you can correlate those foods you ate with the amount of bloating you have. So use a diet diary. It's really powerful. I have almost anybody I'm working with do these things because that way I can identify exactly what they're eating and really understand what's happening in their dietary life so that we can understand how that's having an impact on their health. Next is going to be remove carbonated beverages. Now, when you're drinking a lot of carbonated beverages, and this could be in the form of soda, this could be in the form of sparkling water, all that carbonation is getting into your stomach. And I find with patients that I work with, some people can drink that stuff and it doesn't seem to bother them, and other people just become a mess over it. Like literally, they just become bloated, they're burping, they're gassy. I mean, it just causes a lot of stomach pain. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding these. And at the end of the day, pretty much anybody is going to get bloated after drinking carbonated beverages. So if this is something that's a problem for you, then just avoid these for the time being. Next here is going to be take a probiotic. Probiotic is one of the most general gastrointestinal supports that you can take. I highly recommend people take probiotics on a daily basis, simply because it's involved with immune health, it's involved with gut healing, it's involved with hormone balance, it's involved with brain health, it's involved with so many different aspects of your gut health, even digestion. So we want to make sure that we're taking probiotics. So go ahead and put in the comment section here below what you do for bloating, how often you get it. Let me know what's going on with it. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and then watch this video right here because I teach on the 7 signs that will determine whether or not you should be taking a probiotic. So probiotics are live bacteria. Now these are bacteria that are living on, in, everywhere on our bodies.